What's this? Fontaine is amazing. Let's talk about it. What's going on, YouTube? Ledger here once again. This time as you get with some more Genshin Impact, and I want to take a second to talk about the future. Not Baizu, but a little bit beyond that. What goes on in the new Genshin waters, right? The waters of Fontaine. Fontaine is coming soon. Even though we have no confirmation or anything like that, I could estimate that it's coming out about where 3.8 should be, right? Or 3.9, who knows? One or the other, but it is coming. I have had some thoughts about it. I've hinted on about it in different videos when I talked about Ayaka and such, but there are some things that I wanted to brainstorm, that I want to bring to light. Just kind of, a fun topic to talk about in anticipation for Fontaine coming. And one of those things is, what are they going to introduce in Fontaine, right? Now, why do I think they are going to introduce something? Well, if you look back in every region that's come out past launch, they have released things to make that region interesting. Let's say the game released with Fontaine and Nilou, right? In 1.0. So the entire game itself was introduced for those first two regions. But when Inazuma came, what did they introduce, right? You might think, oh, well, they didn't really introduce Electro and Inazuma. But for those who have been here since 1.0 know that from 1.0 to 2.0, no Electro units were released. It was just the starting lineup in 1.0, and then the first Electro unit to come out after 1.0 was Raiden, right, in 2.1. And then after that, we started getting more and more Electro units to the point where we have so much that we have now. So Inazuma essentially introduced Electro to us in different sets, right? And it started introducing units that were going to go well with the future element, Dendro, Yaimiko, and Kuki Shinobu. So they really set the stage for Electro, right? And it was the first new region that we were to get in the game, right? So the first time we're going to be able to explore new areas in the game, and they introduced ways to periodically release those areas within that region. So throughout Inazuma, people were able to stay excited. And then Sumeru came. And Sumeru introduced an entire new element. And that has supplied us with excitement and new things throughout the patch cycle. So we've been finding new Dendro teams. We've been getting new Dendro units. We've been doing all these different things with Dendro alongside the areas that we've been introduced. We got that alongside it because back in the Zuma, we've already become accustomed to constantly getting new areas and exploration, things like that. So to follow that pattern, Fontaine has to do something similar. Fontaine has to do something new in order to keep our attention, unless it's just more area, right? Now one could say, oh, they'll just introduce underwater gameplay. Yeah, that'll be good, but that's gonna get pretty standard once 4.1 rolls around, So what are they going to do? Because I do think they're going to do something. Because when you look at Hydro essentially has all bases covered, right? We have a Hydro healer. We have an off-field, we have more than one off-field Hydro damage dealer. We have an on-field Hydro damage dealer. We have everything. We have everything but a Hydro shielder. What could Fontaine possibly bring to the table in terms of Hydro that is going to help us? Now, I want to say this. Hydro is the best element in this game, right? Now, this is a subjective idea, but I'm saying it objectively because I believe it to be true. Hydro is the best element in the game, right? Why is it the best element? Because of reactions. It reacts with almost every single element in a positive way, right? Every element contacts within the game, you want to react with it. You want to react with Cryo to create freeze. You want to react with Pyro to get vaporized. You want to react with Dendro to get bloom and hyper blooms and versions and so on and so forth. And Geo's Geo, of course. And of course you want to swirl. So it helps every single element it comes in contact with, right? So I do think that in order for Hydro to become even better, become even new, become even more interesting, even though we have all the bases covered, is if they introduce mechanics in order to affect those reactions that Hydro covers, right? Now, a long time ago, I saw like a fake leak roll around, and I kind of marked it off a little bit. But one thing it said interested me quite a bit, right? Now, of course, I'm saying this was a fake one, so don't think this is real. It did say something about Electro charge being reworked, and that clicked, because when I just named all the reactions that you want Hydro to react with, notice that I didn't say Electro, right? Because Electro and Electro and Hydro, their relationship is kind of mediocre. Right? People talk about taser teams, but the actual reaction of Electro charge itself isn't really much to go home about. I mean, Electro charge teams are good, but that's because Hydro units and Electro units are good. It's not because the reaction itself is good. So it's just nice to have them work together. But if they were to rework it and to a point where it actually becomes more meta to do taser, well, then it becomes great. So I think this is going to further solidify Hydro being the best element, you know? Because like if you don't believe me that Hydro is the best element, take a look at a character like Kokomi. Because with Kokomi, when she released, right, she got a very bad rap. She got a very bad rap because people said she was a bad unit and so on and so forth, and she got one of the biggest redemptions we've ever seen in Genshin, right? But the fact of the matter is, what I truly believe, Kokomi was a bad unit.
Well, why you booing me? I'm right.
She was. People say, oh no, she was never a bad unit. She was a bad unit. But the reason why people were able to predict that she was going to be good, and the reason why she is good now, is because she is Hydro. The simple fact that she can apply Hydro opened up all kinds of doors. Because the problems that she had with her kit were real. They still exist. That jellyfish still doesn't move. Her burst is still essentially useless. Her constellations don't really make sense. You know, she has stuff in her kit to make it seem like she's going to be damaged, and she's not, you know? But the simple fact that she applies Hydro while she can heal you, it just makes her cracked. And imagine a world where, because when she released, the only thing that I felt that Kokomi was great at, because granted Shenhe wasn't out, so she wasn't the best in freeze teams. There was no Dendro. The best thing that she was good at was to be a driver in Electro Charge teams. Now imagine what would happen if they reworked Electro Charge in order to be more meta. Well, Kokomi's just gonna be even better again, you know? She's just gonna win again, you know? And that's gonna be real good news for you guys. But not just Electro Charge, right? Because let's not put all our faith in that right there. But what if Hydro started affecting the reactions themselves when it comes to other elements like Vaporize? Like what it could do is it could maybe, you know, enhance Vaporize reactions in some way. Or maybe it can help diversify other freeze teams. You know, or find other things to be able to do with blooms, or you can do that. Because I mean, we've already introduced that, right? Nilou. And that was a very good outcome, where Nilou was able to change blooms. And now bloom teams are great, you know? Things like that. There's so many different possibilities, so different things that Hoyoverse can do in order to make Hydro more interesting, even though it is already OP. And not really just skyrocket like Hydro units to make them just that much great again, but also to elevate the previous units that go well with Dendro, which is every element, you know? So it can help it can allow the game to stay balanced. Other things too that we can probably look forward to is, you know, things where it messes with HP scaling characters, where, you know, we get some HP buffers, because right now the only HP buffer we have in the game is Yelan C4. So we can have something that can buff HP that helps out someone like Kokomi, Yelan, Nilou, anybody that scales off of HP in any way, shape, or form. Most Hydro units that have been releasing, even Ayato will benefit from that. So we can look forward to something like that, you know. And also another thing that I think that we could get introduced is, stick with me on this one, cooldown reduction. Now, the reason why I come up with this is because if we take a look at Hydro Abyss Heralds, when they hit you, they reduce, they increase your skill cooldown. And yeah, that could also hint to the fact, maybe an opposite effect of that would be to reduce your skill cooldowns. That could be an interesting thing too, So that could be interesting too to work with that. That would be real good when it comes to, that could be a real good ability when it comes to the Hydro Archon whenever she comes. So these type of things, I do feel there's a possibility of limitless when it comes to that. I do look forward to getting more information on it. I do feel that they do need to introduce something new in terms of Hydro, because if we just get more Hydro units, none of them are going to be necessary. We can get a Hydro healer. Oh, good job, great. We have Kokomi, we have Barber, we have different Hydro healers already. They can introduce Hydro damage dealers. Okay, cool. We have Hydro damage dealers that do a great job already. Nobody's going to be necessary, and nobody's going to be that attractive unless their character designs are just crazy. So that's what I really think when it comes to Fontaine. I'm very curious to what they're going to be able to do. I am curious to hear your thoughts on what you think they might be able to do. Do you think I might be onto something? Do you think it's just going to be, no, they'll just introduce underwater travel and call it a day? What do you think is going on? Because this is interesting discussion to me. So comment down below. Let me know what you think. I'll answer your comments, of course. I read them all. Like the video if you like the content, and definitely subscribe to more channels so you can get more content like this, whether it comes to discussions or more informative content. Let me know what you guys think. With that, I'll end it here. Legend out.